Visionary thinking and commitment to improve our region is precisely the kind of project that we want to highlight with this organization. So we're excited that they were kind enough to be willing to come and talk to you this morning. Paul McKee is the chairman and CEO of McKeegle. Since its formation in 1990, McKeegle has provided development assistance for more than 3,500 acres of sites and over 250 facilities. Throughout his career, Paul has completed projects with a market value in excess of $2 billion. In addition to his corporate work, Paul is involved in many community and charitable activities which reflect his interest in the community as well as the health of the St. Louis area residents. Paul has served as chairman of BJC Healthcare for 5 years, one of the largest consolidated healthcare services in the United States. He has also served on the board and been involved in a number of other community-based organizations, including Christian Health Services, the National Society of Professional Engineers, Barat Academy, and has received numerous honors and awards for his work in the community, for his entrepreneurialism, and for his leadership in business. Paul has been married to his wife, Midge, who's also with us here today, for 46 years, and they have 4 children and 14 grandchildren. Like her husband, Midge McKee has an impressive list of business and community achievements. In the 1980s, Midge began a home-based property management company. By 1994, Midge and Brenda McKee founded the company McKee Property Services, and as that grew and flourished, it later became transitioned into McKeegle, part of McKeegle. She managed the bookkeeping functions for the Winghaven and McKeegle developments and is now actively involved with Paul in the Northside Regeneration Project. And just like Paul, she's been involved in the community and numerous charitable organizations, including serving on the boards of organizations like Catholic Charities, Barat Academy, and United Way. So we're incredibly excited to have them with us to talk about this terrific project. Without a doubt, the McKees are visionary people, and we're excited to hear about the incredible vision that they have for Northside. So please welcome Paul and Midge McKee.
Good morning, y'all. And the thing that we're most proud of is we grew up in the construction industry, and it's a kick to be among friends. And you can't believe how many times we've talked to people that aren't doers. This is a room of doers. And you guys want to build something. I want to build something. It's driven us nuts to be at this 11 years. We have built one building so far. So stay tuned. We're going to take you on a ride here. So we're delighted to be here. So
I just have one correction to make. We're expecting our 15th grandchild. And many of you in this room know our 2 sons. And so I'm making the family announcement. It's really good to be here. I'm like Paul. There's a lot of, I won't say old because none of us are old. There are a lot of really good friends who we haven't seen in a while in this room, and I'm very grateful you're here. And I don't think I've been in a crowd just yet that's been so many men. So this is going to be really interesting because I do interrupt him and I do say silly things, and we do at the end come together. So we make a good pair. My story is that some lady asked Paul. Do you want to tell that part of it? Some lady we know now really well called Paul. And she was shocked that he answered his own phone.
this is 7 years ago now.
This is a lady that lives in the community that we're looking at. And she wanted to know if she could meet with him, and he said, sure. And so she called back and she said, I'd like to put a group of my friends together. Would you come? So he comes home, and I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to meet this group from the city. And I said, okay. And I thought to myself, if I don't go along, I'm going to spend the rest of my life by myself because I know this man, how he grabs onto something. So we went together, and
It was a fascinating night. We have met with this particular woman at least once every 3 to 4 weeks for the last 7 years. And we went and met her up on North Grand about 7:30 one night in the middle of the winter with 8 or 10 other people around the table, which really started this whole idea of us being grounded in the community and have great support among the community. And today we've done over 155 meetings like that. Midge and I and Bill Laskowski, who here's with me with McKeegle, have done in the community, just meeting the people and trying to hear what they have to say. So what we'd like you to do today is sort of have in your head that this is a living organism.
yes, Ever changing.
It changes continually, it changes daily. It has really become alive here lately. We like to say all the lawsuits are behind us. We fought those for 4 years. And we survived 2 Supreme Court rulings, and that happened, the last one in April last year. Then we had to go back to the Board of Aldermen, get our TIF and everything worked out. So November 29th of 2013, old Leroy's got the ball now. It's ours to go do something. So that really was day one of the project. So what you're going to see here is our vision for it. But what I'd like you to do for just a moment is stop and say, and think, if you had the choice to make St. Louis better, what would it look like to you? If you had a choice to make St. Louis better, what would it look like to you? Then the second question is, what's my role in that?
Find your place.
We never dreamed, and please hear, we never dreamed that this could be done by 1, 2, or 20 people. Warren Buffett couldn't do this by himself. So we're going to sort of transfer the monkey to you today. What you're hearing, you've now got to find your place in it, and you need to tell the puzzle story.
I wear this puzzle piece on my lapel, and it's become kind of our insignia for ourselves to remember that each of you that are here today, whether you get involved or not, has something to contribute to the project. It might be a little, hey, I want you to call this guy. It might be a little, it just might be an email. It might be anything. But you've got to find your spot because you each carry a piece of the puzzle. Because every time, the relationship thing that got said earlier, that's my deal. It's about relationships and conversations. Relationships. Every time we bump up against somebody else, we add a piece of that puzzle to the whole puzzle of this north side regeneration. So think of yourselves as a piece of our puzzle. We want you to put your piece in and know that you've done it. And when you do that, you become a part of the very fabric of our city.
And the picture will be different because of your piece.
Yes. And so it's like Paul said, it's a living organism. So each of you has a piece of the puzzle, and we hope that you join us and put your piece in place and figure out how to do it.
So we're going to roll through it here, and please find your spot. So the idea here, it's 1,500 acres. We got the development rights of 1,500 acres, which really begin, and let me try to come over here, begins down on Highway 40. This is Union Station, comes up to Martin Luther King, Grand Avenue, that's the Rock Church, up the Natural Bridge to North Larson. Everybody knows Crown Candy Kitchens right there. The new bridge, Highway 70, this is the Bottle District. And then we come into Tucker with all the way down to the data center, the old Globe building. And it's basically 1,500 acres that we had the development rights to. We never dreamed that we would change the whole 1,500 acres. 60% of it is still very, very good. So we believe will affect roughly 40%. Pruitt-Igoe, the infamous Pruitt-Igoe is right in the middle, so that you get your bearings here. That's Jefferson and Cass right in the middle.
And if you haven't been on the new bridge, I suggest you try it. It's beautiful.
New bridge is phenomenal. You'll see more of that in a
I
minute.
can't believe it's so fun to drive down Tucker and see all these people coming off from Illinois on that bridge.
It's carrying about 34,000 cars a day today as we sit here. It's just Midge and I and our family and a whole great group of people. You all know we really believe in what we call the LifeWorks brand. If you can live, learn, work, play, and pray in the same community, your life works. There's 2 basic tenets of it. How do you build or rebuild community? We think it has 2 things: economic diversity. All other kinds of diversity will follow that: racial, economic, the whole bit. So we'll have housing for everybody. And then how do you get them to learn and know and rebuild the community? You got to get them bumping into each other. I think our industry has failed miserably with subdivisions and pulling people away from cities. Instead, we need to rebuild it on the sidewalks and the churches and get people dealing with each other again, rather than dealing with our BlackBerries and our iPhones and hiding in our backyard. So we're about that.
There are 9,000 people that live here, and if you've heard me at all, you know that this is my other thing that I say. We don't want any of them to leave because they are all the very fabric of the community. This is not about building a new community. This is the regeneration of what's there. There are so many people we've met who have moved out of the area that are from this area that are looking forward to coming back in. So it's about regeneration. It's not about renewing.
And no matter what you've read about in the newspaper, every community in St. Louis will have our fair share, have what we call revolutionaries, and that have fought us, but they're not the people on the street. I promise you, we have got more support in this city than we ever dreamed we would get. The present conditions, we roughly have 270 acres that we own or have under contract, 2,200 parcels, and it's been quite a journey. To give you some idea, when we did Winghaven, we got 1,200 acres by buying 6 parcels. So 2,200 parcels to get 270 acres. We believe we can get 450 acres at one time.
50 feet a lot.
And we all know about Prodigo, the infamous Prodigo. What a lot of people don't know is that it was designed by the same guy that designed the World Trade Center building. And also, Pro was for black and Igo was for whites, and some genius named this Division Street, if you can imagine the political correctness, right? And we all know of its failure. It was blown up, and that pile of garbage is still sitting at Jefferson and Cass today. All that garbage is piled up. It's the largest piece of our entire site. It's 38 acres. And we are chasing a huge user for that site today. That's 5,200 jobs. So that's what I do every day, is hunt jobs like that. And we really believe we can bring something like a MasterCard and Express Script into the heart of the city. That's our goal.
Never had the property to do that before.
We never had the property. The city never did have the property to do that before. And Prodigo is a major place where it's dead center of our project. Then on the left side is what the Fifth Ward people did when they did planning, and the right side is what we did with a guy out of Memphis and just interviewed people in St. Louis County. What surprised us is the people in the county and the people in the city wanted the same thing. What we were afraid of is that we develop something and then the people wouldn't come back. And if this was an all-black community, it's an all-white community, it's a failure. It's got to be an integrated community, and that's what our goal is all the way through. What literally came out of somebody's mouth was beauty draws and fear withdraws. Beauty draws and fear withdraws. So what you're going to see us do in phase 1 of the TIF, which we hope to have financed by midsummer, we will begin to create beauty in the streetscape, in the look of the community, which is really, really, really important to us. Also, we will come in with a camera security system. We held a competition for design builders that put camera security tied into a fiber system for the whole 1,500 acres. So as we hunt jobs, we're going to have to be able to tell people that their community will be safe and you'll be able to watch it.
That wasn't our idea. That came from our community meetings.
Right.
I'll ask what would be one thing you'd really like to have, and unanimously they said cameras, because if I know who's stealing my light fixture off my front porch, they'll never do it again. So cameras became something that the community asked for.
This is really, really a significant symbol, and I got to give Bill Laskowski credit for it. We went looking 7 years ago for somebody that understood sustainability, and we couldn't find a definition for a sustainable project in an urban core like this. There's over 40-something definitions of sustainability. So we went to Europe, and we interviewed Buro Happold from Denmark and Arup from Germany, and we hired the Danes and asked them to help us define that, because the Europeans don't throw their cities away like we do in America, and just keep moving out. And they came back with some 42 or 44 things to measure, and we said, that's enough, that's nuts. I'm an engineer, I wanted 5 things to measure for 15 years to judge our progress. This is the craziest project I've ever seen, but I think you have the ingredient to fixing urban America. And I thought, whoa, what's he mean by that? He said private money went in first, city money went in second with the TIF, state money went in with the distress area land sum, which is not a dime of federal money in here. And I said, Mr. Secretary, I'm a Republican, that's why it's going to be successful. And I said, don't mishear me. If you're going to be handing out souvenirs, we'll take some souvenirs. So now with the strong cities, strong communities, we've got a real shot at them coming in and helping us. But it's not a matter of us trying to fit their programs, it's them trying to help us do what we think our city needs, which is really a different tone. So it would be phenomenal, you all. This is the demolition. We've got 259 buildings to wreck and 57 to rehab, a lot of that. And we think of it as cleaning it up, fix the infrastructure, and get open for business. And we're pretty close to getting there right now. This is a really interesting piece. Where are the jobs going to come from? And the time is getting away from me here, but St. Louis, the number one thing St. Louis is unique for is food. You're within a 500-mile radius of 87% of all food production in North America. This is the number one question we get asked: where do you think all these jobs are going to come from? Well, we're going to have to go get them. You know, not that you guys don't get construction jobs without pursuing them, right? Our designed the same way. You got to go get it. We got to go get it. So this is how we're going to go hunt. So with food being the number one thing, why is St. Louis number one on foods? Because we have abundant water and cheap energy. And it's really, really important. And when you just look at the sectors, when you put food in here, it just makes great sense that because of the rivers and our cheap power, it floods, we grow a lot of stuff, we make a lot of product, we have number one plant science and life science. You could name 200 companies on here without even blinking it out. We really believe, and Dick Fleming's been helping us with this idea, that St. Louis can be the Silicon Valley of food in the future. Just none of us ever think of ourselves, right? We always think of beer and transportation and financial services and making cars. But food is a natural thing for us, so we really want to grow this. Energy's the same way. We can be one of the top 4 energy cities in America. We're not going to get up and compete with Dallas or Denver, but we got the 3 top coal companies here. We can really do some stuff with energy. Water, you know, everybody else in the world is starving for water. If you're watching California right now, they're really struggling. The southeast, southwest, no water, and we complain about floods. You need water to grow it, water to transport it, water to clean it, water in the process, and water to get rid of the waste. And we've got plenty of it, so we really think we have a place to go. I want to put this up all at one time. I think this is really, really significant. The right side of this is the making of food. The left side is what food does to us as people, and all wrapped with education. So when we talk about being the Silicon Valley of food, we're talking about dealing with all 6 or 7 of these bullets and really making this community the place in the world, you know, for people to come and to explore it. So we mean everything from the soybean to the hamburger to the highest food science in the world would be housed here in St. Louis. We think this is really important. We believe it's already happening. We have the most unfulfilled nerd jobs in the country. 1 out of every 4 IT jobs is unfulfilled in St. Louis right now. We're one of the top 3 or 4 healthcare startup companies in the world right now. So I'm convinced that these 2 worlds are already talking. We just have not connected that. So the future for us is to really pursue this and make it happen, not just sit around and hope it happens. We got to make it happen. We're at the end, and we really see this as 4 gears really working together. The idea is, I don't know how to grow jobs without land. I think we've got the right kind of sustainable future in Midge.
I'm going to talk about this one. It has been an amazing journey for us. The number of people that have come aboard, stayed aboard through all the thick and thin, whether they were necessarily getting paid or not, have been amazing. And our community has been awesome in terms of MoDOT, Ameren, McKee Gas, everybody that's up there, I can't see them all, but they've all contributed. They've all come together. They said, okay, like with the bridge, show me how you think this might work. Let's talk about it. MoDOT is grinding all that rock and everything on 22nd Street to fill that hole. Everybody's cooperating with everybody else. And I don't know that I've ever seen that happen in the city before. So there's a tremendous momentum right now moving everything forward. And it's slowly picking up in terms of even the people we've been talking to about moving or building in the city. So I just want you to know to remember our community partners and the wonderful work that they do.
All of us are used to fighting with all these agencies as opposed to them helping us. And it's really phenomenal. Everyone sees the opportunity for our community growing and getting better, which is great. So those 3 gears are working, and the idea is to get this last gear working. We call it the flywheel of the north side. It's been going backwards for 70 years. It was blighted 70 years ago, you all, by the city of St. Louis. We think we've got it stabilized. We may even have it moving clockwise just a little bit, but not much. We always have somewhere 25 to 30 jobs going on down there. But the idea is to get all 4 of these years going and never stop again, so that our kids and grandkids and yours can always find a job.